my hope that you would prompt the conversation because when we spoke, you did talk about that experience moving through to become digital comms at the bank now. So, based on the audience that you have, that I don't have any knowledge of, just if you could prompt the conversation and then I
Okay,
could follow your lead with that,
okay,
that would be
great.
great.
Thanks for that. Okay, so what we have now, you see, an audience of I wouldn't say um, I would say entirely novices. Like Christina was here earlier. Christina is actually a lecturer. I think she lectures in one of the schools in the South South, and she teaches English and literature. So we have what we do. We started this internship program where we people that want to hone their skills, the writing and editorial skills, where they joined us, and then we walk them through the process of writing. What are the nuances, the best practices for each form or genres of writing, and then we also invite guest facilitators to come and talk to them. I take most of the sessions, but we also have professionals, journalists, veteran journalists, copywriters, um, legal practitioners to come and talk to them around issues around writing and editing. And so when I saw it, wow, I know you, okay, I mean, this is how you started and now you're doing this. So that represents like a career transition. And I think, I mean, our audience will really, really be able to find your own path. I mean, something that they can model this after for those that want to transition in terms of career. And if they want to deepen maybe the expertise or knowledge in a particular field, and then they can just do that. So, and I feel, okay, let's talk, let's have you to come and share your experience and your journey. How has it been? What are the decisions you made? What are those things you have to do? Additional training, all those things, that has landed you at the World Bank so that they can we can all learn from the process and be better for it.
Sounds good. Thank you. Okay, so I think I'll start this way. Um, what I do now is I'm a digital communications officer at the World Bank.
Okay.
Essentially, my job is to create content and drive traffic to World Bank reports, World Bank toolkits, different World Bank resources that I mean it's created for audiences all around the world.
Okay.
And I I started out, I mean, when I met, we were in AGDC at that time, doing work around youth employability skills, capacity building training. And I think we had a lot of, even when this company was actually just starting, we did some contracts together where I was like a writer, editor, just supporting you on some projects like that.
Yeah.
So what I do now is not very different from that, right? It's just another expression of it. As a writer, one of the reasons why companies need you to write for them is to drive traffic, right? To some resource or some product or something that they want to make money from or do some kind of conversion from. Or they want to build brand. So there's so many reasons. The place where I play essentially is in the place where you you drive traffic to a page and then get people to take action, whatever that action is. That action could
Yeah.
be to register to vote in Vietnam or to download a toolkit on climate change. It could be anything, right? So um, I'll talk a little about the career progress, and then I'll just also talk about some of the things that I've learned while doing the job I'm doing right now, and then I'll take some questions. I hope that works.
Yeah. Should.
Okay. I was I mean, so I actually went on to start a business writing agency myself. That was called Inversion in Lagos, and we had our office in Ikoyi. And essentially, what we did was we wrote business plans, pitch decks, and different kind of resources that an entrepreneur would use to raise funding.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I I kind of like stumbled on that. I stumbled on that market, so to speak, just by we had what we called a business writing agency, and we're just writing across the board. We're writing, like we're writing proposals, we're writing different things. We had competencies to write different things, but I realized that most of the people who were coming to us wanted one thing. They wanted documents to go and convince another person to give them money. So whether they were going to get, whether they were writing a proposal, they wanted some kind of sponsorship for their brand, or they were writing a pitch deck or a business plan, the main thing was that people were coming to us asking for a document because they wanted to access money somewhere. And in seeing that, I thought to myself, well, like this is a very this makes a lot of sense. Why don't we just look for the one thing in the business that's making us a lot of money and kind of focus on that? So we focused on business funding accelerator, which is what we called it, but essentially it was a business writing company for people who are interested in raising finance one way or another. So while doing that, I moved to the US for my master's program. Right. I did my master's in media and strategic communication just because it is my field, it's my area. And I wanted to, I was looking for a master's program that would be very easy for me to do also. Right? I didn't want to stress myself. So I wanted something that when the professors are speaking, I know way more than they do. And so that I won't have to overread. They want new concepts. So I did media and strategic communication for my master's. I mean, I quickly learned when I got to the US that technical skills is very important.
Yeah.
Um, it's you want to be competitive, and you may not be able to compete with them in spoken English. That was what I thought. If in my class I'm sitting down, no, in Nigeria, I had a TV show as well. So I'm quite the orator, so I thought. So I walked into my class here in DC, and I mean, these youngsters are just talking. Like these people have been talking all their lives. And I knew that it's going to be difficult to try to outcompete them in that space, right? The English is actually their mother tongue. They have a very, very
Exactly.
wide vocabulary. I realize how limited our vocabulary is in Nigeria. Even we're talking with
Yeah.
these people, the way we actually talk sometimes, where we use things like you understand, you get something like that. And then when you say that the person you're talking to understands, but here nobody knows what you mean by something like that, right? You have to say what that thing is, and you got to find the word. So I quickly realized that my core skills, which was thinking, writing, and speaking, which were my core skills, I quickly realized that I needed to add a little more, some
To it.
competencies to that to be able to
Yeah.
compete in this space.
Mhm.
I needed to be able to sit down on a computer and produce something that they wouldn't know how to produce. I needed to be able to create a landing page. I need to be able to create. So I just looked for technical skills in the area that I was already good at. And I knew that digital marketing was a great option, right? So I had to learn how to create landing page. I was already playing around with these things in Nigeria just because I was curious to learn. So I was playing around with tools like MailChimp, Canva, Photoshop back in Nigeria, just trying to hone my skills. But the main thing I used to do was actually facilitation, training, and then actually writing the documents. Coming here, I decided to kind of like put the digital marketing bits in the front burner and learn how to create resources that are going to drive some kind of engagement. And I also focused my school career on that because while you're in school, you can work. Some people got to work in a cafeteria or work in a library or do some secretarial jobs. I just wanted to work on comms work because I knew that I could learn on the job. And
Yeah.
so I was like in charge of the website of my department, the newsletters, and different things like that that have to do with comms work.
Mm.
So I started learning. I was like avid, it's focus. You like the world we live in is so remarkable. Like you can learn so much just by yourself. Like YouTube, University of YouTube is a thing. I didn't go to any digital marketing school, so I just learned everything off YouTube because I was very curious to know, and also because I'd been playing around with these things in Nigeria already.
Before, yeah.
So started learning how to use landing pages. I didn't quite perfect my skill in WordPress, but I found Wix to be a very good alternative. I use Card, I use MainStack, which were things that you could manipulate a little bit more. These are just no code platforms, so I started using all those things and learning how to how to be better at it. Um, while getting better at content creation, because all this is content, like whether you're creating a website or newsletter, etc., all that is content. I realized that one of the main things that people wanted was traffic, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not enough for you to make content. You need to make traffic come to that place. You need
Yeah.
to know how to drive audience to that place. So then you now need a type of content that is sort of like it's content, but it's now content marketing. It's content that is used to drive attention to something, right?
Mhm.
So whether you're talking about the actual creative or how to manipulate the different apps, and
Mhm.
these apps are LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, the apps that we use, like six of them. If you want to use those apps to drive traffic, right? How the apps work, how those algorithms work, and just started learning to understand those things. And then you can ask any question that you have in that. I'm just trying to gloss over for time. If you would like to know specifics, please ask. I'm very, very open. So I think the story is having skills, getting into a system where I realize that technical skills are important and going on to learn those technical skills and being very good at it. There's so much information available and it's a very interesting space. The digital marketing space, very interesting space. If you have good writing skills, you definitely have a place here.
Yeah.
Um, it's there is a lot of strategy in it, but the beauty of it is on the other end when you do something. For example, I'm just looking at a campaign that I'm running now for a platform that it's a platform that functions in Africa, and what they do essentially is they tell the news about startup investing, and they have a product where they have over 300 investors in Africa that are on that product.
Wow.
And all those 300 investors, the names, the contact details, their bio, their social media profiles, all those things are provided on that product. And they're driving traffic to it right now to try to convert and make sales. I'm just looking at the numbers. Like, this is the beauty of the work that we do. Like, on the other side of it, like, you can see, oh, sales are happening, an entrepreneur is happy. And on the other hand, he's also doing downloads as well. So I'm looking at downloads. Before he got us, he was getting like 2 downloads a week. Now he's getting like nine, right, in a day, right? So which is a good start. But we can even take that even more. I'm telling them that. So learning the skills and then practicalizing the skills. The beautiful thing about this, and let me just speak a little about job search and presenting yourself for opportunities. The beautiful thing about marketing, media area is the fact that you almost don't need anybody to give you an opportunity because you can always do a show and tell. Like, you can sit down on your computer by yourself and go and design one landing page, right? And show that, oh, I've designed a landing page. Like, it will show if you've been doing it. And you may be very skillful at it, but you don't know how to like project yourself online. That's also a skill to learn, online projection, how to make yourself findable online and how to present yourself professionally. But I think having everybody will ask you for some kind of portfolio. Having that portfolio is very important
Yeah.
in your job search process. If you don't have the portfolio, you do have it if you've been in this space for some time. You just haven't put it together. You just have to put it together and then have it in one place and you can show people. And the key about portfolio is you need to have one, right? It doesn't have to be great because there's no way that's a great portfolio, it's just what you've done, right?
Mhm.
When you have a portfolio, you're showing what your competence is, and the people have an idea of how that competence is going to fit into theirs. They never get like, oh my God, my portfolio is not full of so many projects. One project, two projects, as many projects as you can put into your portfolio is more than enough for you to make a convincing argument for yourself. And then after you have that portfolio, you then go into learning how to pitch your skill, your business. The thing about writing is that it's abstract, not like a product that you can say, okay, this is a phone, I have it, right? It's something that when somebody's talking to you, they are also trying to gauge the quality of your mind and how you think, right? Because if you think well, you will write well.
Yeah.
That's just it, right? So when you're pitching, you also want to show yourself to be versatile, knowledgeable, and show your ability to think. And then you should showcase your work that you've done, have something that you've done online, write every day. I'm sure that's something that will be repeated within this group as often as you can. And the opportunities are there, right? You just have to package yourself. I had a big challenge when I was starting out, like doing a writing business, because it's almost very white glove because people don't know. People that was there just writing, just was writing until you become a writer. Before you know that it's a very professional skill and it's
Mhm.
really a tough job to do. Um, But I understand that people want writing for what writing can do for them. For example, I have a client now who does email newsletters, right?
Mm,
And we do email newsletters for the person. And essentially what the person wants is to convert people who come on their website and didn't buy, right? That's what the email newsletter is supposed to do. That's what they
mm,
want. Now, our means of doing it is through email newsletter, and that's exactly what writing is, right? Somebody wants to build his brand, he wants to be popular, he's going to write a book. He's
mm.
not trying to write a book, he's trying to build his brand. So it's always that thing that they want to do, and how
Yes.
writing interprets it into a way that it's actionable.
Mm,
That is the goal of your communication.
mm.
Okay, that was a lot of spiel. I'll pause there and then hand over to you.
Thank you so much, Brian. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe we have the two gender ably represented. I mean, you've heard from our guest lecturer for today, Brian Hodgie. Does anybody have a question for him? I mean, he said so many things that we have taken on. Some of us, I hope we are taking notes of the insights and the nugget that is dropping them. Does anybody have any questions for Brian? Anyone?
Yes, I have a
Okay,
question.
Julius, please shoot the
Good evening,
question.
everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, yes. My question is, which one comes first? Learning a skill to make money out of it, or learning it for just the passion of it? Now, if learning a skill, especially writing, is targeted towards making money, we want to learn faster than when you are just learning for just the passion.
Do you mind repeating the question? I didn't
Okay,
quite get it.
Julius, do you mind repeating that?
Did you get my question?
No,
Can
sorry.
you just repeat it? I think there's some interference
Mhm.
with your voice, so maybe you just go through that once again. Um,
Which one comes first? Is it learning a skill as a passion, learning a skill to make money out of it, or
Audience,
to make
sorry,
money
Brian, I
out
think
of
what they're
it?
saying
I
is,
want to
is
learn
it
faster.
learning for passion or learning for money making? Which should go first?
Yes, yes,
Go first.
Mm,
I mean, it depends. If you if you've made all the money that you want, you can learn for passion. But if you are learning something for passion alone and you haven't made money, you might get tired of what you're doing.
mm,
I would suggest that you learn to make. I was having a conversation yesterday with a gentleman who is starting some AI platform, and we're talking about monetizing strategies. And the thing about making money from what you do is that it pushes you to be the excellent version of it. You have to provide high value because somebody is parting with money. Anybody can say they do something, but until somebody pays you for that thing and believes that you have enough value for them to part with money for that thing, then we don't really know how excellent you are, right? So I think that it's faster for you to develop your skills when you are actually targeting conversion, when you're actually targeting people paying you for what you're doing. Because now a lot of people will call you to write for different reasons, but most of the people that will call you to write are within the business space. Like they're trying to write to get more customers, trying to write to get brand, they're trying to write to get investors. They have different goals, right? And those goals are, if you look at it, it spiral ups to some kind of financial gain. So I think that I would say if you've made all the money that you want to make, then I mean, write for passion, but until then, I think it'll be good for you to write and make some money from it. Make good money from it. Make good money from it. I don't know if you saw the ad about the guy who writes for, what's the name of that Yugo company? There's some Yugo company, and the guy makes over $1 million writing for a company, writing. He just writes, makes over $1 million just writing. It's a very high value skill. It's a very high value skill. It's almost as high value as public speaking because writing is kind of like a last mile skill. It is between a final consumer and a product, there's usually some kind of written text,
mm,
right? Whether that is on a blog, whether that's on a product page, on a website page, there's usually some kind of written text. So because you're a last mile skill, it's a very professional skill area, it's a high productivity area, and it's a high need area. Like you don't want to leave it to chance that what your customer is going to read just before they make a buying decision is not excellent. And that's where we play. And so the ability to hone your skills in the light of making a sale, I think is it gets to be very effective, even for you as a person, because of your target customer who are eventually going to pay you for your skill.
Thank you for that, Brian. Any other question? I hope that answers your question, Julius.
Yes, I have a question.
Okay,
Good evening,
please
sir.
shoot the question.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Choma, right?
Yes,
Choma?
sir.
Okay, please ask your question.
Okay, my question is talking about this monetization and portfolio building. When you started out, were there times you rendered service free of charge, more like volunteering or stuff, just to get things to build up your portfolio?
Yeah, I think because I started out in Nigeria writing content as a business person. And you had to give free stuff as a business person because you're just starting out. However, on a job as an employee, when I was able to convince one employer to give me a job, I mean, I get paid per month, right? Because I already have a job. So you may need to do like 5 free things to get the review. Now, if you do 5 free things and you don't get the review, that's a waste, right? Because you've got to get the review, because the review is what they give you in exchange for whatever it is that you did for them. Because you could as well sit down by yourself to produce some content. You don't have to do that for anybody. So if you're doing it for somebody, they must give you that review in return if you're going to do free things. There's different ways to break into the market, right? You can just limit the number, but don't get caught up in the, some people do free, not because they're trying to build a portfolio per se, but because they are afraid of asking for money. They don't know how to ask for money. They feel like, oh, how can I ask for money? It's easier for you to be like, oh, I'll do it for you for free. No, do like 1 or 2 free. If you want to break into the market and you need those reviews, you collect those reviews, and then close your eyes and charge people money for what you're doing. I hope I answered the question.
Okay. Yes.
There were 2
Okay,
parts
based
to
on
it.
this review.
Okay.
Yes. Based on the review aspect, do you ask for these reviews or you just expect them to give you that review? Because some persons, you need to literally push them or force them to drop a review if you've done a free job for them, probably because they are big people, and others willingly just give you that review. So how can one go about it? Because there was a time I did a graphics job for a big brand, a well-known person, and although I didn't come out straight to ask for this review, but I expected the person to at least mention my name at one point or the other, but I never got that. And I just let that slide. So in situations like that, how can one handle that?
Very good question. First of all, never hope somebody's going to do something for you that you need. You get what you ask for, you get what you negotiate for, you don't get what you deserve. That's the law of life, right? You need to ask for and negotiate for the things that you want. So now talking about reviews, the thing about asking for a review is that it must be part of the initial conversation, right? Before you even do the job. It is, I'm going to do this for you for free to show you what I can do. However, you would give me a review at the end of it. That is your ask, right? At the beginning, before you even touch a keypad, you need to establish the fact that at the end of this is the value that I want from it. And 100% ignore anybody who doesn't want to give you the review, or ignore anybody who wants to make you feel like, well, you need to prove to me that your skill is relevant before I can even do something as little as writing 2 sentences to say, this one did a good job and this is how they did a good job for me. Ask for a review before you do it, right? They're not going to do it by themselves. And for a lot of people, if you ask them, they would give it to you. For some people, you would ask them and you repeatedly ask them, maybe like 2 or 3 times after that. Not that they don't want to, not that you're convincing them to, but just because they forgot. People are busy, right? But ask for your reviews 100%. Ask for reviews, but it's always better if it was part of the initial conversation. In other words, I'm going to do this, and then you give me a review. It's like this platform now. If I was trying to start up like a training business, for example, and I was invited to this platform, I was gonna say to, you know, but today, if you're inviting me, you're gonna have to give me a review, or please give me a review when we're done. And he'll say, okay, right? And then we'll do it that way. And he understands. Now, if I didn't ask for that and I come on this platform, I somehow expect him to know that he has to give me a review. That's kind of funny because I didn't ask for it. And even if I come and ask for it after, he could go ahead to give it to me, right? But I've lost my leverage of asking. Your leverage is at the beginning of the contract, at the beginning of the engagement. That's when you still have leverage because they still want to get something from you. If they've gotten the value from you already, they have no business like really being keen on giving you a review.
Okay, thank you so much for the
Yeah. And on the subject of reviews, I just want to let you guys know something about reviews. For those who are doing the business, because I work in the World Bank, right? That's a job, right? But for you, if you're a freelancer or you have a business doing this, reviews are the lifeblood of your business. Everybody wants to see what their future self is going to be like. And the reviews is people looking at what their future self will be like based on what people have done for you. Get your reviews, ensure you have those reviews. Better still, get your reviews on Google My Business because like a credible platform and people can just read it right there, right? Once they're posted. So get those reviews as much as you can because when somebody comes on your landing page or your web, whatever it is that you have, they are going to look at your service offering and then they're going to look for reviews to convince them to call you or make a buying decision. So reviews are very important.
Okay, let me quickly just chip in there. Brian was talking about portfolio, and then so that we also don't mix them together. For all of you who are part of this internship, there's a website where all your works are published. So in terms of portfolio, that already gives you like an empirical form, a virtual platform where you can reference your work to potential employers, potential partners, and whoever you want to work for or work with. Oh, see and all of you also asked to develop your profile and then also upload. I know when I keep harping on this thing, hey, you can't just upload anything. Some people just put or any kind of picture there because that is supposed to be that's your portfolio. People see you. How are you looking? Are you looking tacky? Are you having your portfolio? How is it your bio profile? How is it written? So those are very essential information or testament about your professionalism, your character, your personality that you need to take note of. Your online, your digital footprint, your digital identity, what does it look like? So that in terms of portfolio, I think that is well covered as long as you continue to write, as long as you are consistent with your deliverables on a weekly basis, you have that platform there for people to be able to reference you. And if you check that page, once you click on your name, it displays all the articles you've written. So people can actually go there, they can say, oh, this is what this person has written, and they can read them. Even I, during the week, I was looking at one of you, I want to find out some information, and I just went to that site and started reading some of the things that you guys have written. And I was okay, probably have something more to do with this person in the future. And that's how you go about it. And in terms of review, just like Brian has said, I think, yes, that is very important for your portfolio as well. And let people, give you good reviews. Some of you are also, we have this peer review exercises that we do. I don't know how many of us have been very consistent with that, but these are the little blocks that you pile up to build your portfolio as a professional, as somebody who is going to the next level. So please, let's take note of this as we continue with the session. I don't know, does anybody have any other question for Brian to answer? Please feel free to ask. I'm sure he would gladly share with us to the best of his ability. Alimat, Lawal, Priska, you've not talked today. Christina, is it the honeymoon blues? We've not heard your voice. Rita, if you can't talk, you can just type your question in the chat box, and then we'll just read it out, and then Brian can answer. Anyone, please? It's your session, it's your day, so please try and pick as much and as many as you can pick from this session, and then be enriched by that. Anyone, please? Anyone? Question? Okay. While they are booting in terms of the question, Brian, I want to ask you. Okay, you said, some of these things that you are doing now. I love the fact that, okay, yes, because some of us think writing is not profitable, is not viable. People think that writers should be poor. I'm a testament that writers can be very rich, and it's a very lucrative profession. But something interesting you said during your initial remarks, you were saying, okay, some of these things, hey, who is there? Somebody is talking. Can you mute? Who is this person? Maybe can you help us to mute this person? Wow. I think it's Oyebanke. I'm seeing she. Okay, oh, great. We shall overcome. Okay, so you were talking about landing pages. Some of these are not like your normal daily routine that you were not doing. I mean, so how did you go about that? Because those are additional skills that you have to add to your skill set. How did you go about them? I love the fact that you referenced YouTube and then other learning resources that you use to actually beef up your knowledge. How do you go about them? At what point do you say that, hey, oh boy, these are the essential skills I need to add to my portfolio? These ones may be okay, but they are not really expedient for now. How do you navigate that aspect of your career?
Okay, thank you. That's such a good question. So when I did my internship while I was in school, I did my internship at Amazon Web Services, AWS, and my whole goal was to become a product marketer in AWS. In fact, AWS is a tech company, a large tech company. And I started from, I didn't know anything because I started Googling non-tech roles in tech. Like that's exactly where I started from because I'm not a techie. I don't know how to program. So I started Googling non-tech roles in tech and started looking at the list and looking at the one that is close to something I know. And that's actually how I identified product marketing initially. And I said, okay, product marketing is like digital communication for a specific Amazon product, right? Yeah. So I'm gonna take that product marketing. So I just took that terminology. I remember the day I discovered product marketing because it took some time to read through because you're starting from you don't know. So you're starting from where there are different people with different skills, and when they're talking, they're very advanced, maybe kind of the way I'm sounding right now. It's like, oh, these guys know these things very well. No, but just started with that simple search of non-product marketing in tech. And I remember I didn't even see it from that Google search because I read it through and it was online. A friend of mine really sent me some reel on Instagram that somebody created, and she's like a tech person and she writes about these non-tech roles as well. We talk about business development, account officer, the people who do sales, talk about product marketing, and UX, UI, all those things. And when I saw product marketing, I'm like, this one looks like the one for me. So I took the name product marketing and went to do some further research. So looking at product marketing, essentially you get to understand what it is because of your little knowledge of digital marketing. It's okay. I see. It's like digital marketing for a specific product. And then you start looking for product marketers. So what I started doing, I started Googling product marketers in Microsoft, product marketers in the big tech companies like Apple. Why did I choose big tech? Simply because the thing about the tech world is that they share a lot. I don't know how they did it. The guys who started this Silicon Valley movement, they created these things and they share a lot. Every single industry is not that way, right? Some industries, there are a lot of like oil and gas, for example. We don't know what happens there. We don't know what happens in downstream, upstream. Nobody really shares all around the world, but tech guys share. That's how that space is. So you'd find a lot of information from them. So I started looking at product marketer in Microsoft. What do you do on a daily basis, a day in the life of a product marketer? Not just weird videos of people who do nothing all day, just doing a day in the life videos. We're talking about people who actually do the work and they're talking about what they do. And so as they talk about what they do, you begin to see the main things, right? You begin to see, and that's how I understood that. In fact, I was listening to, there's a guy called Gary Vaynerchuk who has a program called Marketing for the Now. I remember in 2021, I was watching all the episodes of Marketing for the Now that I could get my hands on. Essentially, Marketing for the Now is top marketers from the biggest brands in the world talking about the latest marketing strategy that they're using to drive customers, to drive traffic and do conversions. Beautiful. So I'm watching all those things and I'm listening to those things, and then I'm getting a sense of where their pain points are in the space. And that was when I told you that I realized that I was learning content marketing. That's the thing about this, like it's not straight. Like when you tell the story now, it's like this thing just happened. This happened over several years, right? Because I was learning and creating content and all that, and I realized that content is important, it's great, right? But there's a space where I know that there's a very huge need, which is driving traffic and navigating that traffic to that space. Luckily for me also, I get a bunch of jobs here. I started working for an agency called Rational 360, where I learned a lot. At Rational 360, it is a public affairs agency. So what they do is they help senators, people who want candidates for Senate, candidates for House of Reps here in the United States to run for office, and they run their political campaigns and help them drive different actions. The major action that I was put on was fundraising, and I was very happy about that because fundraising is a very action-oriented space, right? People have to click to donate $10, $20 to a campaign. And so all that content creation, where the emails, the landing page, and all that you created within different apps like Democracy Now, etc. I learned how to do that on that job. Now, of course, when I was asking for the job, I convinced them I already knew how to do it because I had some sense. Like you see, in an industry, you learn the talk. You have to learn the talk of an industry before you're even great at the skill. Because if you want to get opportunities, your ability to use the talk, talk about in your interview, you're talking about landing pages, you're talking about CTA, which is call to action, you're talking about clicks, you're talking about CTR, which is click-through rate, you're talking about all these things as though you already know them, but you've never really been on it. Or you can practice by yourself, however it is. But I was able to talk my way into this opportunity, and then learn on the job to deliver for my employer. The good like so many good things happened while I was at Rational. At the first weekend when I joined the fundraising team, it was the first fundraising campaign that I ran. For some reason, I don't know, I apparently got a lot of things right. We were able to raise $18,000 for one candidate in that one weekend. And that was the biggest the company had raised for a candidate in that one weekend. But it just shows you the effect of spending hours and hours. You have to kind of like obsess over these things. Like you got to obsess over it. Like I don't have time for anything else, but I was obsessing over this thing. And by the time I put it to work, it worked. And then, from then on, you just keep growing your portfolio.
Well, thank you very much for that, Brian. Any other question from any of us? Question. Roslyn, Rita, Oyebanke, Ahmed, Priska. Any question for Brian?
Okay, I have not really a question. I just want to know if he's actively on social media, and if he is, would like to get a platform.
Okay, Brian, your social handles.
I'm on social media, but it's a personal page. It's just me. It's not my work. So you're not going to learn digital marketing from my social media pages, but it's Brian OG01 on Instagram and Brian OG on LinkedIn, and I think Brian OG on Twitter as well. So that's
OJI.
The OG is OJI, yes. Let me put it in the chat with an eye to the clock because I got 4 more minutes.
Okay.
Brian OG. So that's you can search that across the board. The Instagram's got an O1 attached to it.
Okay.
Yeah, then you can follow me there in case you want to have a conversation. It's gonna be you're gonna have to DM me or something, but because I don't have I don't really post
All right. Okay.
work stuff there.
Okay. Any other question? We have anything else? Like 4 minutes more. Anyone? A question? Question, as the time is winding down. Okay, so Brian, any final thoughts, any advice you have for the audience? What will you tell them? I mean, looking at your own experience, starting from Nigeria, you know the way the terrains are, and now you transiting to a global level. So what advice would you give to our audience today that they should go on with?
I think that you must, and you may need some time to break this down on your own, but it's sell into demand. And what do I mean by that?
Mm,
It helps you greatly when you know that there are people in the world who need what you have,
mm,
right? That propels you to be excellent. That propels you to keep going. That gives you the confidence, that it gives you hope, right? So I think maybe go ahead to research the demand for your skill. Understand the demand for your skill. There is great demand for what you're doing today. I was hoping somebody would ask me something about AI and how AI is gonna affect writing, but you didn't get to ask it, so that's fine. But there's great demand for your skill, but you've got to know it exists and sell into that existing demand. So when I'm speaking to somebody, I'm speaking from the base of somebody who understands that there is a market for it, right? If there's no market for what you're doing, then there's no relevance for what you're doing. But I can tell you, as somebody who started out from writing, digital marketing, and is still writing to today, there's a huge demand for people who can write. In fact, it's almost at the core of everything. You
yeah.
got to be able to write. And a lot of people have huge writing burdens on them. They need to offload that to some other people, right? I currently have a virtual assistant who is assisting me on some other project that I'm doing. And it's just a bunch of writing burdens, right? That's what it is. And just put it into how I'll write a post on this, or write an article on this, or write an email on this. And it's just writing, right? So sell into demand. That's gonna be what I'm gonna
Thank
leave
you,
you
Brian.
with.
Sorry, I'll still have to take you up on that AI thing. I mean, it's very critical. I mean, you want to speak to that because, I mean, it's something that I personally have been saying to uh, some of our writers. I don't know, maybe coming from your mouth, is writing really endangered because of ChatGPT and other artificial intelligence writers that we have around? What's your mind on that? What's your take on it?
Okay, let me see if we can do that in 60 seconds. Very
Yeah, please.
hard, but I'll try. Basic competence in writing has been transferred to AI. If you have basic writing competence, AI can write it, no doubt. OpenAI is going to write it. Gemini is going to write it. Grok is going to write it. If you have basic writing competence, the thing that AI cannot do is the creative element and the infusion of value into a work. All right. Because what AI is doing is AI just regurgitating content that already exists somewhere in the internet, right? You found it and put the words together. It's an LLM, it's a language model. So what a language model essentially is that you teach it with millions and millions of text over time, and it figures out that if you say I am the next word should be boy based on whatever prompt that you give it, right? So it's a language learning model. So it doesn't have it's not intelligence, it is LLM. It doesn't have intelligence to be able to create something. So your job now as a writer with AI now is to use AI for your work. Now, don't use AI to replace yourself, because if you sound, and that's another thing, AI right now where technology is at doesn't sound human. When you read something that AI wrote and read something a human being wrote, you're going to know the difference. Highfalutin. It's funny. Just today, I was kind of talking with one of my assistants, and he had written a headline, and I saw what he was interpreting. It's like, this company closes their second fund at this price, which is a second in a series of funds that they're running, and that was it. And then AI goes that the company closed their second fund. It's like, and that's how we put it, right? And a human being is supposed to see that and edit. So AI is like an agent that works for you, right? The infusion of your intelligence is now at a premium. So with that, if you have just basic writing competence, you're kind of out. It's unfortunate, but it's done. AI can do the basic things. If you can infuse your creativity, you can then use AI and lead AI in a way that you can produce an original work. So much to unpack about it. But I mean, we don't have the time.
Thank you so much, Brian, for this very fantastic and interesting session. Another thing I should say is that AI doesn't have the intelligence of context. It doesn't have the intelligence of context. It doesn't know your context. So there's no
It
how it
doesn't know
can
your context. It wouldn't write to, if you talk about Africa, it talks about in the fields of Africa, in the savannah. It doesn't have all that.
So,
However, this is what I'll tell you though. So the thing about AI is this, learn to use it, right? Don't fight it, learn to use it. It's here to stay to help you. It doesn't have so many things. It doesn't have intelligence. I'm just telling you. If you train the AI model with a lot of content from the US, which is what it is, which all the platforms, there's no AI that was been, I don't think there's enough AI that's been trained with African content, right?
yeah,
So you still have some years, right, of relevance even in your space, because AI doesn't have that context. What it thinks about Africa is what some white guy in Michigan wrote about Africa, and that's all he knows, right? He doesn't know about your street, doesn't know about your work, doesn't know anything about your context. So that's a very valid point that Babatunde just raised. A lot, but use it, learn how to use it, leverage it, and use to create a lot of original work. I've got to run, so
thank you so
thank
much
you so
for
much.
honoring our invitation. Thanks
100%.
for your time. Thanks for sharing from your experience and then your career path with us. We are so grateful. And on behalf of everyone here, I want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll be reaching out to you. I'm sure we'll also organize another session where you come to talk to us and
No
share.
problem.
So thanks. Have a fantastic day over there.
You too. See you too now. Bye.
Bye. Okay, Mary, I will transfer the session over to you as we close for today.
Basically, we've heard what Mr. Brian has said.